Welcome gamers to another video on Marvel Snap. Today we're going to take a look at the featured location, Shuri's Lab. Now Shuri's Lab has the effect that whenever you play a card here, it doubles its power. So we're going to take a look at some of the cards that could be beneficial for you in Shuri's Lab. So the first card on the list is Deadpool. Deadpool, every time he's destroyed, it doubles his power. So normally you would play him as a 1, destroy him, he goes back to your hand as a 2 that you can play later. However, with this location, you can play Deadpool for a 2 power. Then when you destroy him, he goes back to your hand as a 4. Then when you play him again, he becomes an 8. So you only have to destroy him and replay him once to get him to 8, whereas before that would just be a 2 power. To go along with Deadpool, you also have Carnage. Carnage gains 2 power for each card that he destroys. So when you destroy Deadpool and send him back to your hand from the Shuri location, then he'll gain +2 power for that. So Carnage then would destroy him, gain +2 power, and then double his power, because the location effect happens after the card effect reveal. So destroying one card would then give you an 8 power Carnage. In the same vein, you can get a very large Venom. Venom, when on reveal, destroys your other cards at this location and adds their power to his card. So you play a couple cards to this location, their power gets doubled, he eats them, gains all that power, and then gets doubled again. So if you were to play in the aforementioned scenario, you would play a Deadpool, he'd come down as a 2, kill it with Carnage, giving you an 8 power Carnage. Then you could eat them with Venom, and you would have all 8 power going to Venom for 9 power, which would then be doubled for 18. So now you're sitting with an 18 in that lane on turn 3. So as you can see, you can put together a pretty decent destruction deck that uses the featured location. However, there's also the Guardians of the Galaxy, all of which get big bonuses on reveal. If we look at Rocket, Rocket gets +2 power on reveal. So if you play Rocket into the location, then you get, if your opponent plays a card there as well, which they're like to do since it's the featured location and it doubles the power, it's a pretty good deal. He'd get his +2 for 4 and then double to 8. So if you can time it right with your opponent, you have a 1-cost 8 power card in Rocket. You can also do the same thing with Star-Lord, who gets +3 power that would then be doubled afterwards, giving you a 2-cost 10 power card. As well as Drax, +4 power, 4-cost card would give you 16 power after it doubles. And the biggest one of all, Gamora. Gamora gets +5, so Gamora would give you a 12, which would then be doubled to a 24. You can also get a lot of benefit from a movement deck. I don't have a Human Torch, but Human Torch would be great. When he gets played here, he would double his power, and Human Torch's power gets doubled every time he gets moved. So you can go ahead and get him that first double before you even begin. Another one is Multiple Man. His power would be doubled to a 6, and then every time you move him, he creates a copy in the old location. So you're copying a 6 power card instead of a 3 power card. Some other tricks you can use is the Green Goblin and the Hobgoblin, both of which, once played, go to your opponent's side. So when you play the Green Goblin, it doubles the -3, and that gives it a -6 over on the opponent's side. And the Hobgoblin becomes a -16 on your opponent's side. So this can really destroy some of your opponent's plans if they're trying to build up a location and you drop a Hobgoblin on there and drop 16 power off of their total. Wolfsbane is another good one. Since the reveal happens first, if you have 3 other cards in the location, Wolfbane will gain +2 for each of those for another 6. So that gives him 7 power, which then gets doubled to 14. So it's a 3 power 14 card. This is something that with only 3 costs, you can drop 14 power into that location and still have 3 energy left over to put a play on another location as well for a big late game push. And finally, the newest card in the game, Black Panther. Black Panther, when he gets played, doubles his power. So when you play Black Panther, he automatically gets doubled to an 8, but then that would get doubled again to a 16. And then if you use anything that would re-trigger the reveal, for example, Odin, or if you were to play Arnim Zola and split him to other places, it would then double again to 16. So that would allow you to get the doubling effect of Black Panther's power started a little bit early. So that's the cards that I would recommend using for this week's featured location. The featured location shows up 40% of the time in matches. So it's going to be there a little bit less than half of the time. So you don't necessarily need to build an entire deck around it. But if you have decks that already features these cards, then you could go ahead and use those for this week's featured location.